Welcome back, everybody, here to the main stage. And the next session is going to be about Internet of Humans. That's right, you heard it right, Internet of Humans. I'm having here a wonderful lady with me on stage, and we're going to be accompanied by a number of other people. And I would like to give the word to Monique, Calisti, CEO of Martin Innovate, Director of the Ngi Outreach Office. Monique, please take the stage, introduce the rest of the panel, and can't wait to hear all about this. Have fun.
As announced, I'm the director of the Next Generation Internet Outreach Office, and it's my pleasure today to moderate this panel. We have on board innovators that have been funded by the NGI, and we have also the deputy head of the Next Generation Internet Unit at the European Commission, Gemma Carolillo, to whom I will leave the floor in a second to take over and give you more details about this initiative. Gemma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monique, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the session. So, in the interest of time and also to leave the space to our innovators, I will just give you some flash, I would say, about a few things about NGI. So, first of all, why we set it up, this initiative. Second of all, a bit what it is, and very quickly about how it works. Then about who is NGI, you will see it. NGI is made of our innovators. So why we set up this initiative? The European Commission has an internet policy. This policy, which encompasses a bit all the digital sphere, has a vision to deliver a digital environment which is based on the needs of the users, which is what we call human-centric. And we have launched, as part of this internet policy, the Next Generation Internet Initiative. This initiative has really the ambition to provide the technology, so to develop the building blocks of a more human-centric internet. In the EU, we have a very advanced regulatory framework trying to deliver this digital space with strong empowerment from the users, innovation with lots of safeguards for businesses and citizens, but we need the tools. So NGI is a dynamic program because it targets internet innovators. What we mean by innovators? We mostly mean individual researchers, developers, but also, of course, high-tech startups, SMEs, and other organizations. What do they have in common? Because we call the NGI a community. This community has in common a vision, the vision of the internet based on some key principles: openness, trust, security, inclusion, and sustainability. We launched this initiative now a few years ago, and I would say almost 3 years from the launch of this initiative. Now we have funded more than 450 projects that have been implemented by a bit more than 640 innovators. Now, beyond the support to individual projects, as I said, NGI wants to build a community, because we acknowledge the fact that the internet has been built through incremental contribution and innovation, and this is not going to change over the time. And our innovators are already having an impact on the development on the internet, and we want to pursue this further with a combination of technology development, contribution to standards, but also contribution to the policy debate, because we need to feedback the research and innovation outcomes to the policy. An important component of NGI is open source. So 75% of the NGI projects are open source, both software and hardware. And the support of the NGI to the European open source community, we can only expect to increase in the coming years. Just to give you a snapshot of the areas that we have covered so far, we have managed to already have concrete technology solutions. You will hear about some of them in areas like privacy enhancing technology, trust, decentralized data governance, search and discovery. Now, this is a bit why we set up NGI and what it is, but let me spend a couple of words about how does it work. So in constructing in NGI, we have given special attention and a special effort to attract top internet innovators that are usually not associated with European funding. We tried to implement a model that would make it easier for innovators having very good ideas and projects to have their ideas come true and selected and receive funding. So NGI is implementing through a sort of sub-granting projects. We have intermediary projects, research and innovation actions, and we have also support action like the one that Monique is leading. And through them, sub-grantees are these innovators or small projects that can carry out projects also for short duration with a very low administrative procedures and a strong orientation to products and markets. So in a nutshell, this is how it works. And so far, we have invested in the period 2018-2020 more than 250 million. We have 11 research and innovation actions and 2 coordination actions. This effort is not going to stop. NGI has proven to be successful. We are reviewing it and we are making it more powerful through the new Horizon Europe program, for which the first batch of call is actually expiring today. So today is a D-Day for NGI. And in the period 2021-2022, there is additional 62 million funding to support top internet innovators. I will only very briefly mention the areas which are in continuity in a way with what we have done so far. And these are trust and data sovereignty on the internet. Then we have again the topic of trustworthy open search and discovery. And we have also a program for international collaboration. We have so far cooperation with the United States, and we are continuing this. And we are also launching cooperation between the European Union and Canada. And then we are also going to have a new action, which is called the Tech Review, to support an open environment for collaboration between internet innovators to tackle some key societal challenges like climate change, disinformation, and including, based on the experience we already have, response to big events like the current pandemics. So I think I gave you an overview, and if you want to learn more about NGI, not only, of course, through our innovators who are on stage, but also we have an ambassador program. So it's interesting to hear who are our sponsors, those who are committed and embracing the NGI vision. Monique, I will give back the floor to you because I think you can give also more details on the upcoming calls.
Thank you, Gemma, for this super dense but very condensed and very effective, clear overview. So as Gemma said, the NGI has been funding a number of amazing innovators, and today we have 3 of them here. One is on stage, Zenna Fiscella, project manager at Scuttlebutt, funded by NGI Pointer. Then we have Igor Farinic, Chief Executive Officer of Evolvium, funded by NGI Trusted and accelerated by NGI TETRA. Then we have Jurij Skornik, General Manager of Trace Labs, funded by NGI Ledger and NGI Atlantic. I would like to give the floor to each of you to give a short overview, maybe 5-6 minutes each, for your presenting your innovation and your work. I would like to start with, if you allow me, ladies first, with Zenna. Zenna, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Monique. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, the volume is not so high, at least for me. Try again.
I'm talking. You can hear me well right now? Okay, great.
Perfect. Thank you.
I had some slides prepared for this. I'm not sure if they're still around, but we'll see. If in the meantime, are there slides? We're checking over here, waiting a few moments. But in the meantime, I'll present myself.
I have one slide. Okay. I have one slide and you should see it soon.
Well, we can go based off one slide as well. It's often
I only have one actually. But not managing, yes, I share it now. And now it's on, can you see it?
Not actually. But that's okay. I had the exact same situation at another blended conference last week, so this will be the second time winging it. But yes.
Can the others see the slide that I'm showing?
Yes, we can see it.
So now, yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. So this seems to be a summary. Let's start with what is Scuttlebutt. Well, Scuttlebutt is a funny name that some might be reacting to. Originally, it's a seafaring slang for the water cooler on a ship. And it also happens to be the name of the gossip protocol. And around the water cooler is where sailors would gather to gossip. And it was also around a water cooler on a boat that this protocol was born. This protocol is also known as the gossip protocol. Before we dive into more specifically what Scuttlebutt is, we'll do a general introduction. It's an offline-first communication protocol based on trust and based in communal privacy. So you own your own data and you share it with the people you trust and you verify that you trust. Some of the reasons as to why it's so important that we start looking at alternatives in today's society needs us to look at the contemporary right now. So in the contemporary, we have a situation where for last year, Google was down for a full hour, all of their accounts. And that meant that people couldn't even turn on the lights in their own homes because they were relying on continuous online connectivity. Last week, we had a situation where for 6 hours in a row, all of Facebook accounts were completely down. This meant that people couldn't communicate. And I think most people listening to this right now have a large majority of their network and their connectivity based on platforms that are Facebook enabled. With all this, we also have a vast rise in cyber warfare. And if you talk to the Nordic Resilience Center, they see that the future warfare will be majority is cyber warfare. And we have 48.2% of the world that doesn't have access to internet. So all of this ties back into this center point of a centralized internet architecture, a centralized and very fragile internet architecture. This internet architecture is relying on someone else having all of your data, continuously streaming that data back to you, and then having that continuous stream of connectivity routed often via a DNS server. What we're trying to build right now, and what we're trying to contribute to, is a distributed network of connectivity, where it's offline first, so you don't need continuous internet connectivity in order to communicate, but you need friends and you need trust, social trust. This looks more like a distributed platform and sharing between nodes. Some of the technologies that have made this possible is a combination between version-like sharing or version control, like GitHub or GitLab, as some of you might recognize, torrent-based data sharing, such as, I guess, torrents, and as well, of course, distributed ledger technology. So it's these three components of technology that has made this possible. What we have been doing lately is take this beginning of an ecosystem that was created around 4 or 5 years ago on a boat outside of New Zealand and transform it into something that's scalable, something that can work for the future, something that's much faster, something that's still offline first, enables data sovereignty, and enables low-tech compatibility. We have been able to do this in large part and very much thanks to NGI Pointer, and we're very grateful for this opportunity that we have had, and we're very happy that an initiative such as this, supporting open source development, exists and is thriving right now in Europe. And as Gemma just mentioned, also in collaboration with other nations. So thank you very much. And a resilient internet needs to be happening now before collapse.
Thank you, Zenna. Very actual, actually. As you mentioned, we all experienced some sort of scattering of the internet, and absolutely the kind of work you're doing is essential. Now I would like to give the floor to Igor Farinic from Evolvium. Igor, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having us. Actually, we are so thrilled that we could be part of NGI Trust, and actually we have taken our part also in Ngi TETRA. Actually, we were awarded for 2 of our applications, so 2 of 2, so we were very successful by NGI Trust. So we are happy about that, and actually it helped us a lot, not only on technological side, but also to transform our organization to go to the next level. But the first project we had with NGI Trust was with privacy. It was a year ago in the second call. It was type 1 of the project, so it was mostly focused on the exploration and possibilities to actually push our product into a new dimension. Actually, we are the open source developers behind the leading open source platform called Midpoint, which is a platform for digital identity security or helping governing identities in the organizations. So the mid-privacy was focused on improving our product to go to a new dimension, to start managing complex provenance metadata. And actually, we were focusing to build a prototype, but we were so successful that the prototype became part of the product. It's not yet generally available, but actually anyone can activate this as an experimental feature in the product, or go with that, try for the organization, and actually give us feedback to improve even further. So our future plans with this privacy initiative is to move to personal data protection of identities. The next project we had was a type 3 project, which was focused on commercialization. Here we took the opportunity to actually improve our product in a way that actually the internet is becoming much more complex. Also, the organizations and the ecosystems are becoming much complex. And actually, we are seeing the trends that our product is taken by much larger organizations or communities to actually take care of their identities. So we were making sure that as part of the project, we will improve our scalability of our product to actually start managing tens of millions of identities and make it possible to scale up to hundreds of millions of identities. We were also very successful here. So we have released, after a year of development, we have released our improved product as a release candidate. Now we are doing final testing, and actually the results are great. And actually it helped us to transform our organization to actually start exploring new possibilities, to open new markets, and also to start working on a new type of solution where we are now evaluating to run our midterm product as identity as a service in the cloud solution. So we will see how it goes. But actually also not only NGI Trust helped here a lot, but also NGI TETRA, where we were part not only in the bootcamp session, but also we took part also in the not only coaching and also business and other type of mentoring to actually push our organization to the next level. So thank you very much for all the opportunities you gave us.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you very much. Now I would like to give the floor to Jurij. Jurij, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Monique. I'll just give a quick intro into what TraceLabs is and what we do, and then what we have done within the scope of the two NGI projects, so the Ledger and the Atlantic, that we've been part of. So just quickly, TraceLabs is the builder of Origin Trail, which is the world's first decentralized knowledge graph. What decentralized knowledge graph is, what the purpose of it is really to organize data on humanity's most important assets and really making them discoverable, verifiable, and valuable in a sense of data exchange. It's an open source global network essentially for this value and data exchange, and it's driving network effects by actually linking or being able to link data between different data silos. From a technology perspective, it's a combination of knowledge graphs and blockchain technology. Knowledge graphs, for probably not that familiar for everyone, but knowledge graphs are really data networks, different ways of storing data used by organizations like Google, Amazon to really extract value from the data they have. What we did with Origin Trail is repurpose that technology for Web3, blended it with blockchain, and brought it to a more decentralized cross-organizational environment in a move towards a more Web3 enabled or Web3 internet. It's built on three core principles. First of all, being integrity. It can connect to different blockchains. Currently, we have 3 connected and the 4th one upcoming. Interoperability, as it uses global data standards such as GS1 for supply chains, W3C verifiable credentials for verifications, and others. And of course, the important piece that is kind of the core concept of the human-centric internet in this sense also is privacy. So data, we have a privacy by design approach that really enables all of this to happen, but individuals and organizations still keeping or maintaining ownership of their data. And on top of this decentralized knowledge graph, you can build different Web3 applications, anything from audit verification mechanisms to product traceability to data marketplaces. And data marketplaces is something that we've really developed through the NGI project that we participated in. So first Ledger and then Atlantic. And that we've been part of the NGI story for almost 3 years now. It's going to be 3 years, I think, in March. And the program really helped us develop the decentralized knowledge graph to a state where it is today, specifically around, as I mentioned, the decentralized data marketplace mechanisms that we first developed within NGI Ledger, where we developed on top of the decentralized knowledge graph, or as part of the decentralized knowledge graph, a data marketplace mechanism where, with the purpose of actually enabling equitable distribution of gains, and really enabling farmers and participants in supply chains that are more upstream to actually own their data and actually sell it to the producers, researchers, or whoever would be willing to purchase it. That actually, that actually get gains from utilization of that data. And within NGI Atlantic, we actually deployed it in 3 use cases around the globe to test it in real-world applications. And we're actually just wrapping that particular those case studies up now. And in that sense, NGI was really a facilitator in the development of this infrastructure. It really helped support through the support network to actually get the decentralized knowledge graph in a very good state that it is today, and it's already being deployed with a number of use cases with enterprises and individuals. And we really, not only support in a sense of financial aid, but also facilitator of development through providing access to experts, through providing, support in communications, promotion, getting the name out there. So all of these things were a great, component of being part of the NGI. That's it from my side, I think.
Thank you very much, Jurij. If you allow me, given that we have 10 minutes still to go, before giving an overview about open calls, because we have been talking about this new, but I will stop sharing for the time being. Since we have been talking about the funding modality of the NGI, and since here in the audience of this Wolf 2021, I imagine there are many other innovators that could be interested in joining NGI. I would like to ask the three innovators we have today, what did you find particularly convenient in terms of onboarding and speed up of the kind of funding model that NGI has adopted? Were you already familiar with Cascade funding? Were you new to EC funding? If you can give a quick overview, starting again with Zenna.
You can hear me again?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Personally, I had known about Cascade funding and knew a bit about how to navigate it, and no expert by no means. But something I found that was quite a big game changer for me and people in my community. Since we work in a completely decentralized fashion, we don't rely on a single entity holding us together or coordinating us, which means that any sort of bigger administrative tasks would become very cumbersome for different units who want to continue development on different parts. By being decentralized, we can continue development in many different ways in parallel to each other. But it also means that different agendas and different ideas can still thrive. By having this kind of structure that at least NGI Pointer had when we applied, it enabled a lot of the people in my community who had radical ideas of, for example, how to make application distribution over a distributed network, which has been a big challenge, or how to create distributed identities. All of those different ideas who were combined with the capacity to actually make them possible could then be realized because the administrative burden wasn't as high as in many other grant forms. So especially for NGI Pointer, it was really beneficial to see that they could also accept individuals, but also that the flow of actually going through the grant was very helpful with both the seminars where we could ask and an active community online that responded. So for us, it was a big game changer for a decentralized or distributed community who keeps developing on new internet archetypes.
Thank you very much, Zenna. Igor, can you add or let us know what's your view on this?
Yeah, actually, we are first timers, so we haven't known about Cascade funding, not possible. We haven't known about the possibilities. It was mostly word of mouth, actually, how we found out. Then we tried to find someone who will help us to actually to submit the proposal, but actually we failed to find any consultancy companies. So we have tried ourselves. And actually, I must say, the guidance is very great. Actually, there were seminars, there is online community, so no one has to be afraid about that. And also the paperwork that you have to do is for our bigger project, type 3 project, it was around maybe 40 hours of hard work to actually prepare the proposal. Once we collected all the information from seminars or people that are involved in NGI Trust. So we had very great experience, and I can only recommend that actually, if anyone hesitated till now, then actually go forward and try it. But you must read also the guidance, because you must be a good fit for that, and it seems we were a great fit for this NGI Trust, because we have tried also other calls, cascade funding, but actually we were not successful there. So you have to be careful, very careful.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you very much, Jurij.
Yeah, so we actually have been or are familiar with cascade funding. We've been in a couple of projects, including actually another NGI DAPSI project that was earlier this year, and I think it's a good mechanism in a sense of it's very clear for the open calls to express what they're looking for, right? So what Igor also said, it's very, so you know what you're applying for before you even start, like very clearly before you start preparing any proposals or applications, so that you're not wasting time for yourself and also for the people reviewing, because the projects have a very, I think, strong focus. All of the NGI ones had a very strong focus on certain areas, and if you're a good fit, I think applying for it, you quickly realize that you're a good fit for it, and that you would want to apply for something, and the other way around. It's quick to identify something might look very, up your organization's alley, but when you read through the documentation, it's very quick to realize, okay, maybe we skip this one because it's a focus on something that we are not really, core experts on.
Thank you very much, Jurij. So on my side, I wanted to add one word. It's ngi.eu. This is the portal of the Ngi Initiative, and there you can find information about the open calls that are available, that will open up. So if you're an innovator, if you're researchers actively working on decentralized technologies, trust technologies, blockchain, privacy preserving mechanisms, and please stay tuned on our portal. I would like, before we close this session, to give once again the floor to Gemma, to ask her, in a word, what is the forward-looking perspective for NGI within the context of Horizon Europe. You mentioned before investments will come, more investment will come. How do you see the Internet of Trust initiative positioning in the more global context of the Horizon Europe?
Thank you, Monique. I think, first of all, I'm glad I heard very important keywords for us to continue the work. So focus. So we are learning from what we have done so far. This is what Jurij said. We are learning what we have done from in NGI so far. So we are keeping the main areas, but in some cases we add more specific focus, precisely because we want to bring this initiative forward. Then what Igor said, bottom up. Indeed, we are the objective for the future is only to grow this community bottom up. So this is we have the overall vision, but how it's concretely implemented, it will depend from the proposals we receive in the course of the next wave of projects. And also, I liked a lot what Zenna was saying about radical. So if you have an idea which is may also seem a bit crazy, but it does bring new elements in what we are trying to do in building this Internet of Humans, check if you could fit into our program, because we are not scared of radical ideas. So these are all welcome. And in Horizon Europe, indeed, I mentioned earlier, we are earmarked a budget of more than 60 million to this initiative, and more will come over this is for the next 2 years. More will come till the end of the program. As you know, the European cycling is 7 years, and indeed the aim is that we already have the first deliveries, but in the coming years we complete in a way this set of tools that allow us to exert our digital rights online as users in terms both of citizens and businesses. We revamp the internet architecture, we contribute from our side, and also for us it's also important that a lot of the NGI vision which is translated into these technology building blocks makes it to standards, because we are trying, as you said, how we try to position ourselves. We try to make sure that the good results they make into a standard so that they can be a big uptake of such results. So as Monique said, stay tuned, and please do get in touch if you want to join the community, if you think you meet this type of requirements that we briefly presented, because we have already more than 30 countries in the NGI map, as Monique likes to say. So we want to build a stronger presence all across the European Union. So attract also new innovators from countries that are not covered yet or that are less present today in the NGI map. Monique, back to you.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you. So I hope that to summarize, to close up this session, it's clear that the NGI, it's an example of a public funded initiative where indeed you don't need to be a specialist of bureaucracy or of easy funding mechanisms to be able to be part of it. Another main point that I think was emerging from what our speakers said is that you can try again and again. You can have different chances. You can apply to different projects because you could qualify, your innovation could qualify to different streams, to different so-called NGI intermediaries, which are the projects which allocate funding. And overall, I think what's very important is that also individuals can apply. So you don't need to be an established legal organization, but you can apply also as individual, actively, of course, working in the context of the NGI. I think one last point is about the fact that the vision of the NGI is really to empower humans, to empower organizations, public and private, through a trustworthy and more inclusive access to the internet that, as we know, as we have learned, especially in the last 1.5 years, is such an important part of our lives. It's a way for us to access essential services, not anymore just for entertainment, but for accessing education, healthcare, and you name it. So there's a number of vertical market segments that are impacted by what we're doing in the NGI and by what you guys are doing to make it more safe and more inclusive. So I encourage all of the innovators that are listening to us, all of the researchers that are attending this event, to stay tuned and don't hesitate to contact us to have more information. So on my side, thanks a lot to the organizer for having allowed us to participate even if we're remote. And thanks a lot to Gemma and Igor, Jurij, and Zenna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.